All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Next Gen Live. We're at full strength today. This is outstanding. Mikey, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody what your name is, Mikey.
Hey, guys. My name is Mikey Puckett. I am at Seven Rivers Church, but currently on a little vacay for a family wedding in Panama City Beach. So, little location travel, little location switch for everybody.
You should be walking on the beach, be getting attacked by seagulls.
I know. I was trying to be outside, but I realized quickly that the wind was a little too intense for the microphone. So
I love the redneck Riviera.
You'll just have to deal with my breathing.
You've not been to a Walmart till you've been to a Walmart in the Panhandle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is so true.
There seems to be pain in your voice.
Yeah.
Pain in your voice.
That was.
That is true.
Lara, that was fraught with danger. There's
I have
story
stories, but I'm not gonna. Yep, not today on the podcast. Another time.
Why don't you introduce yourself without telling your terrible Walmart tales?
Right. Yeah. Hey guys, Lara Jensen here. I'm at Spanish River Church. Not on vacation, but a location change. You can actually see me today.
Yay!
I've been in the shadows. I said, well, I'll go to the studio. And
we were joking earlier that
light.
I said it looked like Lara was a whistleblower. Like we couldn't,
yes.
Didn't want to be identified.
We should have changed your voice too. Just have a filter on it.
Next time.
You needed the voice box. Yeah.
My name is Lara. I believe that student pastors are weird.
Only now in the twilight of my years do I see the folly of my ways. Oh, we're gonna get hate mail for that one. Oh, that's not good. Well, and of course, my name is Matt Hedinger, and we're going to talk about probably one of the most practical things we've ever talked about, and probably one of the most unemotional things we've ever talked about. Last week was awesome. It was so great to have Cheryl, which I feel like I need to apologize for something because her name is Cheryl, but our family pronounces it Cheryl.
Cheryl.
I know that's weird. That's a Baltimore, Philadelphia thing that's just like our family. So if everyone was concerned I'm not having another stroke, that's how our family pronounces it. That's not how it's spelled. Cheryl. It sounds like Bane. Thank you. But before we get to our topic of schedule, how do you schedule the summer? Like, what is your approach to the summer? I actually kind of want to do a little sidebar, if you'll permit me. A little self-indulgent, but Mikey, you are on vacation, yes?
Yes, senor.
Si. And is Friday normally your day off?
It is typically my catch-up day. So if I am on task and I have accomplished what has been done to be accomplished, I can take it pretty easy on Fridays. But usually everything bleeds over and I tie loose ends.
So then this is one more thing you got to make time for.
Oh yeah, but this is like life-giving.
Well, that's where I'm going. Hang on a second, Lara. Is Fridays your day off?
Yep, Fridays are my day off.
So you have gone into work so that you can be in the ideal situation to do.
Yes.
Yes.
The light's on, but it is also life-giving for me as well. So.
Well, Fridays are my day off.
Yep.
And I'm at I've carved a little corner where I work so I can leave this set up and. These fancy plants don't travel with me. This is as high end as it gets. But today is also something else. Today is my birthday.
Dude.
Today is my birthday, yes.
Happy birthday to Matt.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. We got to sing the whole song.
No, we don't.
Happy birthday, dear Matthew Hedinger.
And I say all of that.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Lara and I decided that the closer I get to the microphone, the more condescending I'm being.
Yeah.
We call it condescension ASMR. But I do want to say, I'm bringing all this up because on top of all of this, and this is kind of the first time I'm saying this publicly, that my family has decided that the Lord is moving us on to another place. and we are in transition here at Old Cutler. So our time is coming to a close here, and we're heading off to somewhere new, and that's really hard. And so when you put all that together, your normal day off, your birthday, difficult things going on in your life, there's no better time to just stay at home, sleep in, and stay in bed. But I want to tell all of you that we love being together, the three of us. And actually our whole team at large really enjoy being together. And this is life-giving is the best way to describe it. And we really love you. And we're doing this so that we can be with you. And we really want you to participate in this with us. And so I think that you guys are one of the greatest gifts God has given me in my life, to help and aid in the difficult work that we do in the field for the Lord. And I can't thank you guys enough. And there might be a better time to do this. There might be a better way to do this, but I will do it and be there whenever we can. And so I want to thank you guys for everything. You guys know that we meet for an hour. We're on here an hour before we hit record. And all we're doing is talking and sharing and opening our hearts to one another. And we really love it when you guys join us. And if we could, we would do it with all of you. Yeah. And that's why we switched to this format. So I just wanted to say thank you and let you guys know that we really love you and are thankful for you and all that you do in your ministries as well. So, okay, that was it. Now we can get silly and fun. So let's talk about how do we plan for our summer. So my first question is, Mikey, and I want Lara, you too, but I'll just say Mikey first for the sake of not talking over each other. What is your approach to the summer? Do you go hard or do you downshift? Do your activities go up or do they go down?
So essentially, we in a summer accomplish almost equivalent to what we accomplish in a year. With interns, doing contact work, with amount of days that we spend with students, like overnight, in a sense, like on camps. So it's probably like, I don't know, we go on like 15 days that we're with them to 20 days. And then throughout the year, we're probably the same with retreats. Mm-hmm. So we almost pretty much cram into a summer very much a year's worth of contact work and face-to-face, and also just volume of events as well. So we go hard in the paint in the summer. But
that's my expression too. That's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It's intense for us.
How about you, Lara?
Yeah, we also go hard in the paint during the summer as well. We really take advantage of students not being in school. They don't have as many activities and that they would during the school year. So that's a really great way for us to build relationships with them through camps, through our weekly Wednesday nights, events that we have. So we use the summer to go deeper, not just wider with students. So we do more Bible studies and like Mikey said, more contact work, which we have found to be very beneficial for how we enter the fall and enter the school year, because there's already momentum there. And it really, those relationships are starting to be solidified as we go into the fall. So it's been really helpful for us in that way.
Yeah, and so I think one of the things, we definitely go harder in the summer than we do during the school year because our students' availability and the other demands on them throughout the school year. So we actually have, I think we would say we have two modes. We have kind of the school year mode and we have summer mode. And one of the things I think has really been beneficial and one of the things I've really appreciated over the years is implementing breaks between those two. Do you guys have a period of time where you shut down or downshift significantly as you transition from one of those to the other? And if so, like why? What's the point of that, Lara?
Yeah, in the past we haven't, but within the past year, we have created more of the rhythm of rest. And so in May, we take off the last 2 weeks in May to kind of one for us as leaders to give the leaders, myself, um, a down time.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also too, the second week during that time is also to start planning and last minute things. And then in August, the first 2 weeks in August, we take 2 weeks off as well before we start back up. So that's kind of the two breaks that we take.
And is that youth group or is that Sunday school? Both.
That's youth group. Yep. So we don't offer Sunday school for middle and high school students at SRC, but yeah, so that would just be Wednesday nights we take off. And then during the school year, every once in a while, like spring break, we take off and things like that. But yeah, those are kind of the two, bookends for us.
Awesome. What about you, Mikey? How does that look?
Yeah, we will like May probably 10th through the 20th is usually downtime. Like starting really the last youth group is May 7th this year, so pretty much May 8th through May 21 will be pretty much total break. And that's when we're preparing to bring in our interns. We take vacation usually that week, things like that. Get everybody rested up and ready to go. But right now, like this week and next week is like pure, like get everything tight. Dates, all the things in order. Like when we bring in interns, it's like, what are they doing every single day and what's their checklist, and how are we going to distribute that to them? How are we going to communicate that to them? And how are we going to hold them accountable to do that work and to get it done for us? So it's very much right now like high intensity, especially as we're finishing off the year. And then the year ends, we celebrate, we have a good time, and then we rest. And then pretty much I want May 8th to be a day of like not freaking out that we have 2 weeks till the summer starts for us, because for us it's May 22nd when our interns or 23rd show up, and that is when we start doing our training. So, but I want it to be more like, oh no, I can really rest, and then all I'm doing is hitting play on May 23rd. You know what I mean? And we just go through the summer, we play it out. Now during the summer we spend a ton of time planning the fall and the spring, and make sure that all of those things are done so that once again we get to the fall, we hit play. We do get like our church, which I think this is really cool. I don't know if a lot of churches do this, but our church just says, hey, the last week of July is always going to be dead. We're just killing that week as a dead week, as a practice for all of us who contend on the side of workaholism to say, take a break and relax, go be with your family, go do something. If you need to do a staycation and work on your house, do whatever it is so that when we come back in August, you're ready to go for the school year, ready to run. Because our date back is August 3rd usually as an entire team and staff. But that comes from our session. That comes from our senior pastor. He's like, hey, you're gonna take awesome. This week off. You're going to have to do this because I want you guys ready to go in the fall on August 3rd. So, because you know how it is. Like we're not going to, like it's hard for us to like take time. Like and for my team, my youth team, I make them like at the beginning of each semester like submit their vacation, and then we plan around that their vacation. That way, it's not like because you can make an excuse every time. Oh, I can't take this week. I can't take that week. No, you vacation, and then what are we going to do around you guys being out of town? We're going to work around your time off a little bit, which is helpful.
That's awesome. Yeah, we and it's interesting because even though we're in the same state, we also have different schedule. Like when our schools start.
Yeah.
Like it's, because Florida's so big that we can be in different ends of the universe, it feels like. But we do youth group Wednesday night through April. And then we take off of May. And because we also feel like there's like finals and spring, you're always matriculating anyways. Like you're always losing kids throughout the semester anyways. Or they're able to come less and less, I should say. You're not losing them. So May, we stop doing youth group. We keep doing Sunday school through May. And then the whole church doesn't do Sunday school over the summer because we have so many people gone. But then I think it's like the first full week that kids are off of school in June, which is like maybe the second week, first week of June, we do our VBS, and that's like all hands on deck. And that's when we launch everything. And we actually, and I know Mikey, I don't know what it looks like at Seven Rivers. Lara, I know you have a great space. We have a great space here for the youth, but they're in it all school year. So we really shift and pivot to, instead of having like youth group and Sunday school, what our summer looks like is we have, and this is kind of like pivoting in the next quarter, like what are the pieces that are a part of your summer? So we have 3 pieces. The first pieces are 2 weeks away. We have a week away with high school, a week away with middle school. And that's like the Super Bowl for our youth ministry, right? You've been together all year, you've gone on a retreat, and now you get a week away. So we want that for every age level, regular program, a retreat, and a week away. So those get scheduled first. Then around that, instead of being in the youth building, we do a thing called Dive, and it's a Bible study that's poolside, and it's a cookout at somebody's house. And we have a kickoff to the summer where we lay out like a breakfast. We lay out the summer, and then we tell them, everybody, the schedule for the whole summer. Here's a really cool calendar we made. And then we let parents volunteer to have the dive at their house. And so we can have that. We've done it different ways, but like it's going to be, there's a high school dive and a middle school dive. So that's twice a week we're at somebody's house, and a poolside cookout or a poolside Bible study is not easy. That's not a great teaching environment. It sounds like great and easy and bright and like no. Try teaching a bunch of middle schoolers around a pool, like outdoors where you hear weird things all the time. Anyways, but it gets us in other people's homes. It gets us out of our like little enclave, and it, not to be confused with conclave, gets us out of our enclave. It helps build community. So they get to show off their house, they get to be a host, and they get to connect in different ways. So we have that's twice a week. And then every Saturday that we're in town, we have a big go out and do something event. So like that's laser tag, go-karts. That is a bring your friends, no content. That is just straight up fun. So those are like the 3 pieces. So we'll do 6 of those dives over the course of for each grade level, 6 weeks of that. Usually 6 outings, 2 weeks away. So like we go pretty hard in the paint. What are the pieces that you guys use for the summer?
Yeah, ours very similar as well. Camp is really huge for us. So the high schoolers get a week away, the middle schoolers get a week away. And so that typically happens in the middle of the summer. So that's one piece of the summer for us, as well as continuing our weekly Wednesday nights that we call campus night. And something that we do a little different in the summer there, as far as the teaching, it's a little bit more Bible study and discussion. We'll do theme nights every once in a while. Some nights it will just be, no content, just, hey, come out, invite your friends. We're having ice cream Sundays, just come hang out. What we have found is that Wednesdays, instead of adding other days throughout the week for parents to drop off students, what we have found is, okay, they're always going to come on a Wednesday for the most part. So what can we do on a Wednesday so we really try to narrow that down for our students and for our families. And then something new that we're doing this year, we're actually going to have life groups before campus night, an hour before.
Okay.
So we've never done that before. Last summer I did a brunch and Bible study on Tuesday mornings, but for the first time. We're going through Seeing Jesus Together, student journals, and going through Romans 8. So something different, but we'll see how it works. And then also to the third piece for the summer for us, our monthly adventures. And we have that throughout the school year as well. So that might look like movies and milkshakes on a Friday morning, Friday night blast on a Friday evening.
We love an alliteration.
I love it. Yeah. Yep. That's why we do it. So yeah, those are kind of the elements that make up our summer. And this summer is looking different than the last 2 summers that I've been involved at Spanish River. We've typically known as Summer Jam. So we've done a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. But what we found was that was really taking a toll on us as leaders. And just having to constantly like, okay, here we go. Here's the next thing and the next thing. And so we're like, how do we do summer well where we're not dying? And parents aren't having to constantly come to the church.
How do we go hard in the paint without dying in the paint?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So we're really kind of changing our rhythm a little bit this summer. So I'm excited for that to see how that will pan out.
Cool. Mikey?
Well, first of all, I'm stealing all of these ideas. Milkshakes and movies. Heck yeah. What?
I call that Tuesday. That's why I'm fat.
I'm getting a milkshake right after this. Right now. I'm Uber Eatsing one here. No, I love it. I love it.
I will give you $1,000 if somebody knocks on that door and brings you a milkshake before the podcast is over.
Did you say 1,000?
1,000.
Yeah, but there's 1,000 Shroot bucks.
Oh, Shroot bucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to say one of the cool things about summer, and clearly, like, it's just a time where you can try something, an experiment, something new. You can totally throw a curveball. And it's only the summer, and kids are kind of like open to it too, because it's not in this like routine rhythm, all that stuff. So I love it. I love if you're listening to this and you're going, maybe I should try it. We don't do this normally. Just try it. Just give it a rip. Do a poolside barbecue. Like Matt says, that does come with some complications. As one who has done those, they can be very complicated, but also they can be really fun and great. What I love about it too is that people get to be in a home together. That something about taking, especially if you're at a church that has its own like youth space, back, when the church was probably starting, you probably did meet in people's homes way more. So even using the summer as an opportunity to get into people's homes, it's just a way to already build like community and be a little deeper with one another. Like you're really walking in the spaces of your friend's house and, getting to be together and hang out. Now, it can be hit or miss on the house, like depending on the family that hosts. You can be like, okay, we don't want to be here. They have 12 kids and they're all swimming with our high schoolers and getting destroyed.
That's tough. Yeah, that can be tough.
But
or worse, when they have middle school, like high school kids in their family and middle school kids in their family.
I know. And then you're like,
put it on lockdown.
Yeah. Absolutely chaos. Anyways, so we've done the last 2 summers for our high school something similar, Matt. We put people in the pool, done a dive, had catered, barbecue, hang out, talk, and what we like to do that is a little different. We do storytelling. So we have our interns come share their testimonies and stories and share about how God has been at work in their lives. We find that kids are really prone to listening to them because they're in the next stage of life than them. Like it's just kind of like a win, a huge win for interns to come in here and say, hey, here's how God's been working in my life. Here's what I learned and what I regret or what I wish was different or I would have done differently in high school or middle school even. So we emphasize a lot of storytelling, and that's part of our curriculum with our interns is storytelling. We dive into their stories. We're reading the book To Be Told by Dan Allender with them. We're going through the workbook. We do some Adam Young story work podcasting with them where they listen to it and they engage with their stories. They tell their stories to us as staff. They have like a week intensive with
Wow,
us. So
that's great.
we go really hard on like how God made them, how God has wrote their story, and really how God has named them and has put a name on them that we try to call out of them and to just be like, listen, like this is who you are in Christ. Like go now and live according to what God has called you to and your mission. So that's something that like when I think about the summer, I'm focused so much on interns because the interns focus so much on the students. And I've thought at times like, oh, I want to cancel this internship because it does take so many resources and it does take so much effort. But every time I've thought about that, I've just remembered of how much of an impact it has made on our kids. Because it just is a change of pace, a change of scenery, a little bit of change of leadership in some ways to them that really just like it salts and peppers the main course. You know what I mean? It just adds flavor and builds so much momentum going into the fall that I'm like, I do think it's worth it for all my time and my staff's time to go into pouring into these interns who are then just going to water hose these students with
Mikey,
love.
you've given us the perfect transition to what I want to ask about next, but I want to pause because we got a wonderful question that we put up on the screen. This is from Patrick, and I'm going to put it up again. Let's see. It says,
Oh, I see it.
yeah, in my context, high school students are expected to work 40 hours in the summer. Any ideas on how to reach and disciple them when schedules
And
are
Patrick,
so crazy?
I'll say the same thing. I've noticed that like kids are just working like, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like I don't think there's like anything wrong with a kid getting a job and working. So we have this thing called Camp 7 Rivers, which runs 7 weeks, and so all our high school and middle school students, pretty much like 100 plus, will be working every day there, watching little kids from 3 to I think 11 or 10, and they're like the servant team, they're like the junior counselors, they're like the sports people, and it's amazing. It's a ton of fun, but that means like, well, how do I really get on their level when they're gone all day from 7 in the morning till 5 p.m. and then at 5 p.m. they're exhausted, and how do we disciple them and work with them with such crazy schedules? I think it's a challenge that I've not come to the answer to. I'd love to hear what Matt and Lara have to say about that.
Well, Patrick, I don't know what your context is with your family, but sometimes that's part of the challenge during the school year is like you have a responsibility to your family as well. I have a 17-year-old daughter and I have a wife, and it's like I need to be with them at some point too. And my daughter goes to school all day and work and has sports, and my wife works full time, and so you got to find time for them. But sometimes I don't know your situation, but like sometimes the summer can offer you greater if the kids have less freedom, but maybe your family has more freedom. You can shift your gears a little bit, find some time to find time with your family. And I would suggest if your kids can't participate in like a big program like that. And by the way, the reason why we go so hard in the paint is that we know no kid is going to do all of that. Mm-hmm. We know kids are in and out all summer, that they have different things, but it's very easy to come in and out. So we go hard in the paint so that we have lots of opportunities for kids to participate some. We have zero expectation that they're going to participate all. But I would say, like, if that's your context, maybe you want to think more guerrilla. Think not big army marching down the field, but like hit, run, hide. How can you gather a couple of them? Like, hey, I know that there's some kids that have this day off. Have breakfast with them. Take them out to breakfast. Maybe and what Lara was talking about is actually something I've looked into, the See Jesus journaling, and like that's the kind of thing where like give them something that they can do on their own, and you get together with them in smaller groups. They're not small groups per se, but you're gathering them in groups that are available at the same kind of times, and you're going to more of a guerrilla youth pastor as opposed to a come and see youth director kind of approach. That's kind of my first thoughts on how maybe I would tackle that problem. Lara?
Yeah, that's kind of along the lines I was thinking as well, just finding times with them in a smaller group setting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Cool. You're like milkshakes. Bring
milkshakes,
all the boys
that's
to
it.
the
Movies and milkshakes. That's it. Just the milkshake will do it.
If you the key word here is milkshake. Just say milkshake in whatever you're doing.
That's why our summer
Well,
can be
let
successful.
me elevate that. Let's just say Shake Shack. Like, let's go burgers and
Yes.
shakes. You know what I mean? And just
We-
tell your administrator you're going to be turning in a lot of receipts from food places. Like, that's
Yes.
just
We got Shake Shack for Wednesday night this past week, and wow. Like, kids were having 3 burgers.
Okay, we are making jokes about this, but man, I'm telling you, you just offer some good food at youth group and they will show up. And you know, it's kind of what Jesus did a little bit, guys. If you think about it,
novel idea.
Jesus was feeding people, not just spiritually, but he literally took bread and broke it. And wine. Don't bring wine to youth group.
If I've shared this, please forgive me. But like when I was interviewing for Old Cutler, I asked what was the budget for the youth ministry as a part of my interview process, and the administrator goes, "Well, here, let me show you this." And she says, "And Lara, we both know Dina, right?"
Yeah.
Dina goes, "Look, this is how much money the youth group spent on food last year," and Dina kind of has a strong tone, and I thought that was negative, and she goes, "That's not nearly enough." And I was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna get along." I was like, "All right, I'm in." Yeah, food is very, very important.
Oh yeah, everything that we do in the summer is like, all right, it's centered around food, or I don't know.
Mikey, you know I love you, right? Like Lara, you know I love you. You know I love you too. I'm gonna say this anyways. Never trust a skinny youth pastor. You two are the only skinny youth pastors I would trust. But yeah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
If your youth pastor doesn't have somebody like the love, you know, he doesn't know how to love people well. Yeah, awesome. By the way, thank you for everybody that's wishing me happy birthday in the comments.
Yes.
Patrick, I'm glad that was helpful. I want to pivot though, because Mikey, you really I think that there's a common misconception. And if this is true about you, then you're probably not doing it right. I'm going to be 100% honest. Hot take. I think that there's a misconception that having summer interns makes your life easier.
No, it does not. It is not easier.
And if it does, you're not doing it right. Why doesn't it make your life easier? And or ergo, like how do you know you're doing it right? Like what should an internship look like for a summer intern?
Well, I actually think people should do them, especially if you're like have college kids coming back, like that graduated from your youth group. Just bring them on. I mean, especially also even thinking about Patrick, like 40-hour work weeks, just hire them and be like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you can work 80 hours. You know what I mean?
You got a workforce, yeah.
Yeah, we bring them in and convince your session to do that, because what better thing for our kids who graduate from our youth groups to go to college or go wherever into tech school or into careers, that when if they come back for summer off or whatever it may be, to say, hey, we're going to pay you and convince you to come here and be discipled by us. Like, and I think that's been one of the most rewarding things for me, is having kids who grew up in our youth ministry who have come back. Of course, we take kids from kind of anywhere and everywhere. We'll take you. Okay, if you have a heartbeat and you want to do anything with youth ministry, just come on down.
Go to Seven Rivers.
Yeah, if it's so sweet having kids that graduate out, because it's just this like capstone. It's like a capstone. Like when you do graduate school or doctorate, like you do this capstone where you kind of have to like a thesis, you kind of summarize the things you've learned or put together pieces. It's sort of like a capstone for your students who have grown up in your youth ministry to like just put a nice like, oh, this is the inside workings that I, from 6th to 12th grade I didn't see happening, and I saw like it almost like a light bulb goes off in their mind. It really is really, really cool, and it's so worthwhile. Now, granted, like, college kids are college kids. They're not going to show up on time. They're not going to do what you tell them to do. No. They're going to oversleep constantly. They're going to sleep on your trips. Like, you'll be like, where's Johnny? Johnny's passed out at the blob. Like, dead? No, he's sleeping, like, underneath the dock. You know what I mean? Or something like that. You're like, you go find Johnny. You gotta watch the kids. Like, come on, dude. Rally. Here's a Red Bull. But anyways, it's just how it is. It's just how it is. Or they'll we've had to send interns home because of actions or things they've done illegally, which have not been great.
No, Mikey, let me just spare you an email from Stephen Eastock. Stop.
All right, I'm stopping.
No. You can keep talking. Just don't elaborate on that.
No, I won't. I will not. That wouldn't be nice to the interns who works for me either.
We're not even going to change the names to protect the guilty. No.
But it is. I think one of those things. I really think, especially college kids, helping them with their worldview, helping them with their spiritual disciplines, giving them good covenant theology, Reformed theology. You would be surprised at how many kids go to college and then come back and have this I would call it new thought kind of perspective, like with Jesus, this kind of manifestation, this sort of like Jesus is, and just to speak against that and be like, we do not, Jesus is not some genie that we just sort of, you know what I mean, think about and pray about and makes things happen. Daddy Jesus, whatever people say these days. But no, getting them good covenant, reformed theology, leaning into scripture, answering hard questions. So we do trainings for them, and we go through theology, and then we do and then when you mix it with their story, and their life, and as they write it and tell it, one, they're learning how to listen to each other and listen to kids' stories. Two, they're also seeing where God is in the parts of their stories they thought God was not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I have I don't want. We could do a whole episode on interns, but real quick, our internship has 3 tracks, and so there is every summer intern I've ever had now is either in full-time ministry or volunteering with their church's youth ministry as young adults. That is incredible. Go.
That's awesome.
Go. But that's an interesting, the 3 tracks are, we talk about what needs to get done for the ministry, practical and contact work. We got to get this done for Dive, and you need to go spend time with these kids. Then there is, ministry development, professional development, what is the philosophy behind what we do, and what does ministry really look like? And then there's personal development. And so they read it, our interns will read a book, and they'll meet with me and my assistant director, if they're male or female, depending on, and we do that one-on-one, usually over food. So Gentle and Lowly was a great book we read. You Are What You Worship. Incredible book. Just things to help them grow in their personal spiritual walk. So there's, how we get things done, why we do what we do, and you spiritually. But what do you guys think about or rather, what's the percentage of interns that you have that are kids that are coming back, or versus kids that are interested in this as a career? Maybe they go to college and they're studying youth ministry and they want to do a summer internship. Maybe they're both, maybe they're one and the same, but what does that look like for you guys?
I think for us, we are kind of in the process of really developing more of an internship program. We've had interns in the past who have gone through the high school ministry and who have come back and who have interned with us, but they weren't per se interested in going into full-time ministry or anything like that, which they don't have to be. And so I feel like this year we're finally establishing and developing more of an internship program for that. And so I've seen it where it's kind of both and of interns who have come back, who have been involved in the ministry, and then also those who are interested. We're in the process of interviewing candidates right now, and several of them have done youth ministry or worked with young adults, and so they're interested in doing this as a vocational vocational calling. So that's something that's been just interesting to see. A couple months ago, I was back in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was able to get dinner with some of the girls that I've known since 7th grade who are now in college. And they're telling me oh, we're youth interns at our church. And I'm just that is so cool. And they're going and doing internships. And one of them was I feel called to youth ministry. And I was like, yes, here we go. So to hear those stories is just really encouraging to see what God is doing in and through their lives. And then also, too, having that be a part of your ministry as well in the summertime. There's just something so cool about, especially like college students coming back and serving in that way, and just how they relate to a middle school student and helping them just develop and grow spiritually.
One of the things I love about when your kids come back, like kids that enjoyed being in the ministry and then like want to serve in the ministry, I love it when you pull the curtain back and they see what's involved in making this happen and how much hard work it is, and like, oh, like, you know, because 3 years ago they just showed up at the house and had jumped in the pool and ate the burger, like that's all, and tried to listen. But then like when they see how much we talk about it, how much we work on the talks, how much we, like help them prepare the talks or whatever that case may be, and they're like exhausted at the end of the night, and they're like, 19.
Yeah.
And today
I know.
And I'm 48. Like they're like, what? That's like being a grandparent, like in the sense of like when your kids have kids and they're like, wow, this is hard. How did you do it? You're like, yeah.
Dude, did you guys see this question by David? I kind of want to answer it if you guys are okay with it. Did you see it?
Yeah.
How do your summer programs line up with the overall church vision, mission, or does the youth ministry just do its own thing? So this has become a really big passion for mine because I've kind of transitioned over children, students, and college. And I would say that one of the things that I've realized over the past year and a half of kind of jumping into this role and working on it a little bit has been the kind of discontinuity between all of them in the summer. Everyone just sort of like shotguns all summer, like just shooting at walls, like just whatever happens hits. Hopefully we hit the target. There's no like, real. And so it's kind of like, wow, we're doing all these things, but they're not all working together. And in fact, they're actually unhinging parts of it. So like, for instance, we would do a camp during like one of the weeks of our Camp Seven Rivers, and we would take like 40 high schoolers away from working Camp Seven Rivers. So now they're down 40 counselors. Wow, yeah. You know what I mean? But we're not realizing that as we're planning. So one of the things that's been is getting everybody in the room, sitting down, all the directors of those ministry areas, like well in advance. So we've been doing this since like Christmas time. You know what I mean? Talking about, hey, what are you planning this summer? What does it look like? And then we made a calendar together. This is kind of real practical, but we put together a calendar and we kind of fill it in. And then everything we had these monthly check-in meetings for summer planning where we're just making sure that everybody's still on the same page. It feels redundant. It feels like too many meetings, but at the same time, they're like 30 minutes. They just keep us focused and on track. And one of the other things too that's been really, really cool that I love that our church does, it does like a summer conference where we bring in a speaker. And that sort of is like, we've all treated that in all our ministry years, college students and children's as kind of like our weekend of where we're going to like support the church with children's and college kids. We're going to bring them out. We're going to do a carnival. We're going to do all of these elements and events. And so it's like this kind of full coming together as a church family to sort of rest all weekend. We bring in a preacher from out of town who comes in. We have Russ Whitfield coming from Washington, D.C. to speak to us, and it's going to be awesome. But part of it, too, is just we throw a huge party all weekend for our church from Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night. And we're part of that, and we make that happen all together. So it really is one of those sweet things that our church does that really brings it makes a big church for us, which we feel like 1,000 to 1,500 people feel small on that weekend, if that makes sense. Because we're all working together. It's so easy to silo when you're in those categories and things like that. Anyways, I definitely love that question because it's been something I feel like should be important as you do your programming, is try to coordinate with your VBS, with your pastors preaching, with what they're doing, like mission trip wise. Because we did a family mission trip, and a big thing was like, okay, well, we bring kids on our mission trip, middle schoolers and high schoolers. Should we just cancel that mission trip and do the family mission trip? Does that make sense? See, those are questions you have to ask but if you're not asking, you're just conflicting with one another in some ways, competing against each other, and you don't really want to do that. Maybe there's a better way to accomplish getting everyone on mission, but in this format or whatever.
I think to answer David's, like in my context, our church slows down significantly in the summer. VBS is our only all hands on deck, and we are all hands on deck, and our middle school and high school kids are helping everywhere. And I'm there, and we're walking around and doing different. Actually, I should do a special just on all the dumb characters I played over the years at VBS. The costumes are insane. Anyways, but I also think what's really important, as far as like the mission and vision of the church, is I think the summer is where we're doing that, where we're contextualizing that a lot for our kids, like service, worship, discipleship, like all of those things are happening in an intense, we are executing those in their context probably at the highest level in the summer. But for me, it's not a huge programmatic conflict. So we don't have to have that level of coordination, Mikey. We really have one event. Like, we don't have Sunday school. We don't have Wednesday night during the summer. So the adults aren't doing it, like coming here for anything else. If they were coming here on Wednesday night, Lara, we probably wouldn't have the dives somewhere else.
Right.
Right. Because like you were talking about, like coming back to, how many times are you coming to the church?
Right.
And like we do our big events on Saturdays because parents can drop them off and pick them up.
Yeah.
Presumably, because it's a weekend.
Right.
We don't do that on a Tuesday because, I'm a working parent. My wife's a working parent. Like who can do that? Right.
Who can do it. Yep.
But yeah, so like there's the philosophical mission and vision of the church, and then there's the programmatic practical aspect where Mikey sounds like they have a lot more going on in their church practically, but we're trying to do that philosophically. I hope that helps. Lara, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, we get everyone in the room, as far as family ministry, and kind of just talk it out, what we're planning and things like that, to not have it feel so silos. So yeah.
Well, and so thoughts. Awesome. Patrick asked a great question. I'll put it up on before we sign off. Are there any CDM Next Gen gatherings at General Assembly? Well, David answered this in the chat, and I can't speak to it intelligently, but there will be CDM team members there. So I don't know if we're not presenting. We're not doing a workshop this year. Apparently that's like a hard gig to get. I didn't know that doing a workshop at PCA General Assembly was such a hot, Presbyterian Coachella kind of thing, but it's hard to get an act there. But we will be there. We will be there at the CDM booth. So look for some of us there. Mikey, are you going to General Assembly?
I will not be going, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
But fortunately at the same time.
I don't want to go on a General Assembly rant. But
weren't you talking about going, Matt?
Yeah,
well, I'm contemplating it. This might be like the one time I can go. And if I do go, I kind of want to just hang out and see if anybody wants to record anything and maybe have like a little podcast mini episodes if anybody wants to come and say hi. But I got to figure that out.
Right.
So, but definitely stop by the booth and see whoever is there. I know we're still working out the details on that, but we would love to see you. So, anything else you guys want to throw out about summer? We talked about it. We talked about our big pieces. We talked about interns.
I wonder if this link is working. I'm trying to put a link in there of my kind of some of the story work we do, but I don't know if that's going to work. I just posted it.
Oh yeah, the books.
But maybe I need to find the problem. If I share my like Word document link, I feel like you're going to be able to edit it. I don't want people to edit it, but
right.
I don't know how to do that. So hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna try, because that's what who was asking that? I think Patrick was asking for something. I do want to figure out a way we can put some stuff in there for people to access. I don't know if there's a way, Matt, that we can do that.
We'll work on that. I do have a question. So we talked about kind of the overall structure. I'd like to go we have a couple minutes left. I want to go a little bit more minutia. What are your guys' weeks away? What do those look like? What's your middle school week away? What's your high school week away?
Ooh. Well, for middle school, we are going to real life camp in Vero Beach.
Okay.
So we've never done this before. So I'm excited. Like Mikey said, try out new things in the summer.
Yeah.
So that's very much my planning strategy. But usually we've done Southland, but this year we're going to real life. So we're excited for that.
And real life, for anybody that doesn't know, that is a big box, non-denom that you're showing up at a facility that has all the programming ready for you to go.
Yep.
And Southland is a youth ministry network where those guys, youth pastors, are putting it on together.
Yep.
It's a collaborative thing. Right.
Yep. So then the high school, they're going to Southland in North Carolina. So that's their week away.
Is that's the PCA camp, right? Like
Yep,
what's
at
the,
Ridge Haven.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So they're going there, which will be also a great time.
I have some traumatic experiences at Southland when it was at Camp Kalakwa.
Oh yeah.
I showed up and there was Coke machines lining the walls. And I was so excited that I walked in there. And if you don't know, Camp Kalakwa is a Seventh-day Adventist owned facility.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I walk up to these machines. There's not a single Coke that has caffeine because SDAs don't do. That was trauma.
Yeah.
And then I was attacked by an armadillo. But that's,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not attacked. I ran away. I ran away from an armadillo. Okay. I saw an armadillo and I ran away and I ran back into the cafeteria and like held the door shut. And I was mocked for decades to come. But yeah. What about you, Mikey?
Well, we go to Kalakwa, which you don't do that, right, Matt? Or Matt doesn't go to Kalakwa.
No, I'm too far south. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we also go to Ridge Haven, which is with Southland as well. Listen, maybe we should just tell people, like, if you're in Florida, you should contact Brown Peterson.
Yes.
At Lakeland Trinity Church in Lakeland. Brown Peterson. Know the name. He is the Southland guy. I think it's called southlandstudentcamps.com. And he's great. He's excellent. I would highly recommend. I mean, even people outside of Florida. I know people in Atlanta who come as well to those camps with us, and even South Carolina.
I spoke out of turn.
Mountain comes from Chattanooga too.
It's not too far. It's too early.
Too early. Gotcha.
It's too early.
Okay.
It's too early for South Florida.
And have you guys done Ridge Haven before?
I've never been to Ridge Haven.
Actually, it's solid.
It looks great.
And it's our denomination's camp. So support the denomination, folks. PCA.
Yeah.
So those are things we do, and we go on a Mexico mission trip to Reynosa, which is very sketchy.
I thought you were going to say you went on a Mexico mission trip to Mexico. I was like,
to Mexico, and it's a paid vacation for me. I'm just kidding.
Right.
we do something a little different.
Not a paid vacation.
I absolutely love the Edge conference at Covenant College, and I love it because it's Reformed youth pastors putting on, and they've been doing it for decades. They've got it down to a science, but I really, really love taking our middle schoolers to Covenant College and giving them a vision for what that experience could be like. I want them to fall in love with Covenant while they're there having an incredible experience. And that's worth the crazy drive. We drive from
How far is that?
It's 14 hours without stopping. So
You go bus or van?
Van, 2 vans,
Okay.
15 passenger and a usually a minivan with a U-Haul. And so what we do is we drive from Miami to Macon. We spend the night in Macon, and then we drive to Covenant the day it starts. And then the last day we take off, we have breakfast, and we drive straight back. We try to, if we can do it, listen, there is no greater invention, except maybe Amazon, for youth ministry in the summer than Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah.
Buc-ee's is God's gift to youth pastors.
Yes.
If our best days, we have left Lookout Mountain, Georgia, which is Chattanooga, Tennessee, basically, driven to Macon without stopping at the Buc-ee's in Macon or near Macon, I can't remember where. And then everybody goes to the cleanest bathrooms you'll ever see, best food you're going to eat, gas up, go to the bathroom again, get back, and we've almost made it from Macon to Miami without stopping because the kids are passed out, they're full, they've gone to the bathroom, you've got gas. We almost made it, except Lauren had to stop once. I was going to kill her. She ruined it. But yeah, so we do that. We love taking kids to the edge. We think that's just one of the best things. And I want to start winning kids for Covenant early instead of trying to win them in high school. And then for high school, I do something completely different. And we started this thing called CORE. And it's actually a variation of something I've done for years where it's just our high school kids. We go get an Airbnb near the beach. We've done it in St. Augustine. We've done it in Daytona. You can go anywhere and just find a place for a week. And we focus on one of our core beliefs, but it's super chill. It's super chill. We cook all the food. We hang out. We go to you walk to the beach. Lots of free time, lots of hangout time, lots of relational time, some small study time, some small talking. It's usually just me. I don't bring in somebody else. And then we just go do fun things, whatever's around. We just go do. And I love, love, love that for high school kids. It is low program, high hangout, and like intimate.
There's have you heard of Rush by chance?
Yeah.
In Atlanta?
Yeah. At Perimeter.
I've never been, but I've heard if you have like a leadership team or a student leadership team, like you can obviously send your whole youth group there. But I've heard that if you go just with those teams and watch, because it's a whole camp at Perimeter led by students, it is kind of helpful. So just a thought, an idea there that if you have like 8th grade leadership team or a senior leadership team with students that run your youth group or participate in that, like you could be like, hey guys, we're going to go to Rush this year. Just us, and we're going to participate in the camp stuff, but we're also going to I just want you guys to see, hey, you guys can do this too. Anyways.
Yeah, that's their big thing, is that it is actually led and put on by their students. So that is a unique
led worship, speakings done by students. So I don't know, might be cool.
Well, listen, very cool, guys. Well, I hope that I hope everyone here has their summers planned because they're coming fast.
If you don't,
if you don't, I hope that helps.
You have some ideas, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. We love you guys. Guys, thank you for coming today. Really appreciate it. And we'll see y'all later.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Adios.
Bye.